Welcome back, dear viewers. Now it's time for our daily press review, and we are joined here in the studio with Ms. Samaïs, she's an international law expert. Good morning.
Good morning.
And we start off from اليوم السابع newspaper, and we have the following headline: Prime Minister heads economic group meeting. Prime Minister Sharif Ismail headed on Monday the economic group ministerial meeting. During the meeting, the ministers discussed the new investment law before presenting it to the cabinet and then to the House of Representatives. The Prime Minister stressed that the new law aims to achieve economic reform programs adopted by the government at this stage and also will contribute to the implementation of the state development plans in various sectors. The Prime Minister said that the government is keen to complete the new investment law as soon as possible. So, Sama, to what extent the new investment law will help in attracting more investors in the coming future?
Of course, it's a very good initiative, and as a start, it will
Yes.
attract investors, but the law is not enough. We need to have a safe environment for the foreign investor or even the local investor
Yes.
to feel it's safe for them to invest their money and they're going to get back an even higher outcome from this investment.
Yes.
So creating a safe environment
Yes.
is also necessary as a backup for the law that has been issued.
Okay, and still with اليوم السابع newspaper, and we read Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri holds a phone call with his Russian counterpart. Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri held on Monday a phone call with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov. Foreign Ministry spokesman Councillor Ahmed Abu Zaid said that the call dealt with the path of bilateral relations and ways to boost them in various fields. Also Monday, Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri held a phone call with his French counterpart Jean-Marc Ayrault. During the call, they discussed the excellent bilateral relations between the two countries and ways to boost them in various fields. Also Monday, the Foreign Minister met with visiting Foreign Minister of Uruguay, Rodolfo Novoa. During the meeting, they discussed ways to enhance bilateral cooperation between the two countries, as well as regional and international issues of common interests. Foreign Minister Shukri also met a joint delegation from Egyptian and Sudanese Foreign Affairs Councils. The meeting dealt with historical relations between Egypt and Sudan and ways to enhance them in all fields. So this is part of Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri's activities on Monday. In your opinion, how can Egypt enhance its relations with the different countries, especially that we have the Foreign Minister of Uruguay and a delegation from Sudan, so we have visitors from all around the world. So how do you evaluate the minister's efforts to enhance cooperation with different countries?
Of course, the initiative to enhance and have alliances with superpowers or hegemonic powers is always an advantage of Egypt for a start. But it has different circumstances that make it suitable for us to have alliances with certain countries. For example, of Russia, in the news that you just mentioned, we are allying with Russia because we're playing on the same side. Like President Sisi in Egypt is supporting what's happening in Syria with Bashar al-Assad as the legitimate state and the government. Hence, this is the same thing that Russia is doing. Therefore, we can have an alliances because we have the same ideology and we're playing on the same side. So the aspiration to have alliances with superpower is ABC politics and is very beneficial for the country, but we can't have alliances with countries that our ideologies are conflict. That's why we're having alliances with Russia, and it will have other benefits for the country, such as tourism and economic reform. It's going to help us on other levels. So it starts politically and then it's spread in different branches.
And moving to الأخبار newspaper, and we read Minister of Planning Dr. Ashraf Al-Arabi said that the state began to establish the Egyptian sovereign fund AMLEC, which can engage in partnerships with the private sector to set up investment projects. The minister pointed out that the first phase of the fund was that the fund aims at attracting investments. Al-Arabi said that the state has allocated £5 billion for the fund's capital. The minister said that some sectors were chosen for the fund's work in the coming period, including industry, agriculture, transportation, mining, tourism and trade. Earlier, Prime Minister Ismail pointed to the central role to be played by Egypt's sovereign fund AMLEC, as it will represent the state investment arm and will work on integrated planning to ensure optimal use of state assets. So to what extent this fund can improve investments atmosphere in Egypt?
Basically, it would definitely improve investment as a start. It's a very good initiative.
Yes.
But my only concern in come with the most brilliant ideas that are very beneficial for the country and sounds very promising, but we have a problem in the continuity. So in the news you've just read, I've seen the initiative, but there is no plan detailed with how, for instance, 10 years to come, even if it's object to change. But we need to have a plan to ensure continuity, because we have very good aspiration at startups.
Yes.
But carrying on the project or the ambition that we're having till the end usually have a peak and then it falls. And this definitely occurs because the lack of a clear vision or a plan to be presented and followed.
And moving to Al-Wafd, the newspaper, and we read Egypt, Norway sign a deal to provide jobs to youths. Egypt and Norway signed on Monday a cooperation agreement to carry out a project aiming at providing jobs to young people in Qalyubiyya and Munufiyya governorates. The project is implemented under the title Jobs for Egypt's Young People Working Together in Qalyubiyya and Munufiyya governorates. International Cooperation Minister Dr. Sahar Nasr and Norwegian Foreign Minister witnessed the signing ceremony in attendance of Norwegian ambassador to Cairo and head of the Cairo office of the International Labour Organization. So how do you evaluate the government's efforts to create more job opportunities for youths in different governorates?
It definitely is diverting the country's attention that the youth is the only, our only way out in this economic crisis that we have.
Yes.
And there is an obvious problem that youth cannot find suitable job opportunities, if not suitable opportunities for a start.
Yes.
So this initiative is definitely very promising, but I would love to see, for instance, a training that's happening where you train those youth skills that to ensure when the project starts up that it's going to be subject to the minimum amount of errors because they've trained well and tested under training. And even when the project ends, you leave those youth with a skill that can carry on with them afterwards in opening up different opportunities. And this is a very good initiative. We need more in that. We need more cooperation, not just with Norway, with other countries that have mutual interests with Egypt.
Yes.
And to create a situation in which the other countries feel that it's promising to contribute with the country and the youth.
Okay, and moving to Al-Wafd, the newspaper, and we read Syrian army forces continue to advance in eastern Aleppo. The Syrian army and its allies announced the capture of swathes of eastern Aleppo from rebels on Monday in an accelerating attack that threatens to crush the opposition, its most important urban stronghold. Two rebel officials said that the insurgents facing fierce bombardment and ground attacks had withdrawn from the northern part of eastern Aleppo to a more defensible front line after government advances risked splitting the rebel-held area into two. Now, dear viewers, we'll go for a report on the recent developments in Syria. So stay tuned.
The United Nations on Monday issued an urgent appeal to Syria's warring parties to halt attacks endangering civilians in Aleppo and allow humanitarian aid deliveries to besieged parts of the city. UN spokesman Stefan Dujarric said rebel-held parts of Aleppo had received no aid since the beginning of July, and food was becoming scarce. Supplies provided by the World Food Programme ran out on November 13th, and aid from other agencies is dwindling, effectively leaving eastern Aleppo city without food. The UN is extremely concerned about the estimated 275,000 civilians trapped in horrific conditions. Faced with devastating bombing and street fighting, thousands are fleeing to safety after more than 4 months of siege. Syria's rebels lost all of the northern neighborhoods of their stronghold in eastern Aleppo on Monday as the army of President Bashar al-Assad made significant advances in the offensive to recapture the entire city.
Welcome back. So, Sama, quickly, can you tell us your vision on the situation in Syria?
My vision and situation is that it's very clear that when the United States stopped funding and backing up the objectors in Syria, we started seeing an improvement in which Russia is improving, and there are the progress that we just witnessed in the news, and because of the transition of the election in the United States. So this only highlights that the United States of America was the only backup for the rebels, and when it's not funding as it is, it gave Russia the power to push even further and end this massacre, and the legitimate government is starting to win more grounds.
Okay, and now, dear viewers, this was our last news item in our daily press review. I'd like to thank Visa Mais, international law expert. Thank you for being with us, and now we'll go for a short break, and we'll be back with the breakfast review.